All right, let's talk about the third race from yesterday's election 2013. Republican Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey, reelected as mayor of New Jersey. Pretty hefty win, 60.5 to 38% over Barbara Buono. Here's what I was watching in the exit polls, Lewis, because there actually are some really interesting things to look at in Chris Christie's exit polls, not so much about New Jersey, but about his chance in the national election, which we've been talking about. Is Chris Christie viable as a national candidate for president if he were to run? What were the numbers? What was I looking for? I wanted to see, comparing to 2009, did Chris Christie get more or less of the African American vote? Did Chris Christie get more or less of the female vote? And did Chris Christie get more or less of the independent vote relative to 2009? The numbers are good for Christie, Lewis. 21% of African Americans yesterday voted for Chris Christie. This is plus 12 from 2009. 57% of women voted for Chris Christie. This is plus 12 from 2009. And 66% of independents voted for Chris Christie. This is plus 6 from 2009. Now, we do have to adjust for people jumping up and down saying this is obviously evidence that Chris Christie is a viable candidate for president. We have to adjust for the power of incumbency. That's one issue, Lewis. We can't say exactly how many points he got simply for being the incumbent among these groups, but it may be some. But these are pretty favorable numbers. The numbers are actually so favorable that it's making me question whether Chris Christie would be a viable candidate in a Republican primary for president, or does he have too much support from minorities and women and independents?
Well, I wouldn't think too much about the people that would vote for him in a Republican primary. I'd be more interested in learning which companies are going to sponsor him in said primary, because you know what, I don't think it's going to be too many. I think he's been palling around too much with Obama, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that could be a factor for him. And we've talked about this. Republicans don't really seem to like the fact that he has admitted sometimes the president does something that's okay. It's not terrible. He's not necessarily a communist, socialist, Muslim Kenyan from Indonesia and England. But that's just kind of basic stuff that you would hope any mainstream Republican candidate would be able to do without being punished. If Chris Christie can't even say, you know, President Obama handled the response to Hurricane Sandy pretty well and not be penalized for it by your party, then that actually would just go to show how outrageously extreme the Republican Party has become.
I think they are that extreme. But you know what? I do think he would have the support of a lot of people if he did enter that race. But we know that sometimes that's not good enough.